Bullet Club.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you've been with us before, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time with us. This is Leanne Presents. I am one of your hosts. I'm Alan. This is my co-host, my wife, my partner, etc. All that good stuff. This is Leanne.
Hi.
And as you've already seen from the title card roughly 20 seconds ago, these are our predictions for the upcoming pay-per-view. Not premium live event, get that junk out of here. Pay-per-view, PPV. Here we go. AEW's All Out. So we are just about a week and a half removed from All In, so there's not going to be a massive amount of stuff to build up to on this one. But we'll cover it as much as we can. So it's maybe shorter than usual. There is only 7. I mean, there's 8 matches announced. There's only 7 that we can really talk about. So the first one we're going to really just sort of band-aid off right now is that Okada will be defending the Continental Championship at All Out. In a 4-way match. The competitors of which will be decided in matches on Collision. So I think you have Konosuke Takeshita versus the Beast Mortos. You got Orange Cassidy versus the Bounty Hunter Bryan Keith, and you got Lance Archer versus someone who I can't remember, Mark Briscoe. So the winner of each of those respective matches will go into the match on Saturday night at All Out to face Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, for that Continental Continental Championship.
Nice.
As such, we're not going to give any predictions on that because we're not going to predict who's going to win each of those matches, and then it could be totally wrong. We could get it spot on, but it could also totally be wrong.
Yeah.
So post-facing that instead of pre-facing, I guess, with a suffixing to that. If there is any new matches like this one or updates like this match, for example, using that as an example, they have announced there is a 0 hour for this event, but they haven't announced any matches for it at this point of recording. We will be updating the description of this video down below to reflect any changes to the matches, any changes in new matches and so forth, and predictions. So if something happens on Rampage and Collision on Friday night that changes our perception of some matches, we will put it in the description down below on this video prior to All Out starting.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone has not seen these prediction videos with us before, the way they work or the way I work them, I'm the one doing the predictions, I run these videos. I've got an extensive sort of history of watching wrestling in general since WrestleMania 12, which I believe was 1996. So as we're looking at that, what's that, 28 years worth of watching wrestling?
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel old?
Yeah, it kind of does, not going to lie. Leanne's only sort of gotten into it in the last sort of, 6-7 years-ish.
Even that
so
feels
since
like
you
a
met
long
me,
time,
and it's, we have watched everything All Out since its inception, which I'm really proud to be able to say.
Everything All Elite.
That includes Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, Dark Elevation, all the pay-per-views. I'm even sort of plowing through the Sammy Guevara vlog, being the Elite, and I'm going to start watching AEW Unrestricted when I get some time, and Hey You as well, and all the good stuff, So I lead these ones because I can kind of give more of a better sort of run and sort of things pop in my head than might sort of pop in history or whatnot, different things, and then Leanne will take over with the reactions, and she'll sort of run the reactions video when we put that up on Sunday. So we're going to do this, or I always do this, in terms of non-title matches first, followed by title matches, unless there's a special match, like if it's Survivor Series War Games, for example, or the Royal Rumble, they will always be last because they are the matches that the cards are based around. So as it stands right now, we have 3 non-title matches and 5 title matches, one of which we're unable to speak about, as I've already covered. So we're going to cover these in my least anticipated to most anticipated. Least anticipated doesn't necessarily mean I'm not looking forward to the match. It just means that the ones that we're going to cover after that match are a higher priority for me because of story or competitors or whatever sort of good stuff. So we're going to dive straight into it. The first match we're going to talk about is Willow Nightingale, and she is facing Kris Statlander in a Chicago street fight.
Yes.
So these two kind of fought off against each other at All In when they had tag team partners. Willow had Tomohiro Ishii and Statlander had Stokely Hathaway. Because Willow won that match with Tomohiro Ishii, she decreed that the winner of that match would get a stipulation. They could choose the stipulation of this match, and she's picked a Chicago street fight. because All Out is happening in Chicago.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Again, because there's not really been much time between All In and All Out.
Mm-hmm.
There would have been less if it was originally sort of ran on its scheduled time, which was last weekend.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing, because it would have been up against Bash of Berlin if they'd gone on the Saturday anyway, but I think it was on the Sunday at that point. But thankfully this one's on a Saturday, so we haven't got to avoid spoilers all day on Monday, so thank you, Tony Khan. So there's not really much that's gone on between these two at this point. So, I mean, they've named the stipulation, and that's pretty much it.
Yep, Statlander has said that it was a stupid idea for Willow to pick the street fight.
True, yeah.
Statlander feels like she's got the advantage in that setting.
Yeah.
Which I would probably agree with on the face of it. But Willow's been... she's obviously still very smiley all the time, because that's the character, but she has been showing a more aggressive side because of the rift between her and Statlander. So it'll be interesting to see that, like, have the space to escalate. So it could be good.
Yeah. If I was running this, I would probably put this as the opening card to get that crowd riled up really strong.
There's no exact
but
stakes to it.
No, and this
it's sort of closure to the end of the friendship.
I have put in here, I'm surprised it isn't for the CMLL World Women's Championship.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Statlander did beat Willow in a eliminator match for that title, so I don't know why this isn't for the title.
I guess my thought would be, if they want to end this storyline, you don't want a title on the line, because that opens things up a bit.
Yeah, but I guess you've also got the politics of CMLL might not want Kris Statlander as champion, which is why, So if she were to win this match, etc., etc.
Yes.
Is that all your final thoughts on this one?
I think so. Yeah.
I've got nothing else to really say with this one. It should be a good match, I think. The women's street fights, the sort of things we've had in the past, have been quite brutal.
Yes.
So I'm expecting nothing less from this one. You go back and you look at the ones that sort of Anna Jay and Tay Mello had against, I think it's Penelope Ford and someone else. I can't remember who it was now. But they were quite savage, and it's always a good match, which is really good.
Yeah, definitely.
And it kind of puts that... it's not just the guys that can do hardcore stuff; the women can do it as well, and I think that's what needed, because it's it is a men's dominated industry. Yeah. It kind of needs to be shown that women can hang just as tough as the men can.
Honestly, in AEW, some of the best women's matches are those like more hardcore
Yeah,
ones.
and look at that the bull rope match that we had recently between Mariana Peraza and Thunder Rosa. That was great.
So should be good.
Yeah. So who you got?
Willow
to win.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to get closure and close it off. Whether that is the plan to close it off, I don't know, but it feels like this should be the crescendo. So end it with the face winning.
Mm-hmm.
I think would be what I would do.
Okay. The reason I get Leanne to do these first is because she's very impressionable. If I was to say Statlander to win, she probably would have been like, yeah, probably I'm going to go with Statlander instead. I think that's probably what would have happened if I'd said that.
Probably.
Guess what?
Statlander
to win.
Cool.
And I think I almost blew it when I mentioned earlier that it's not for the CMLL World Women's Championship. I get the feeling this is on purpose.
Okay.
I get the feeling that they wouldn't want this to change hands to Statlander, and that's why it's not on the line. That leads me more to believe the Statlander is winning this one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe they'll have like a Stokely on a pole match after this. Or Stokely in a Shark Tank.
Camp he's in.
Yeah, or Stokely in a Shark Tank, something like that. Cool. So the next match we're going to talk about then is going to be another singles match, and it's going to be seeing. That's great, England. That we're going to see Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Daniel Garcia, the returning Daniel Garcia. So I want to say maybe 2 months ago, I think it was. Danny Garcia had a match against Will Ospreay and for the International Championship, and it was a great match, but he lost. MJF was in Danny Garcia's corner. I don't think we've talked about this, so I'm just going to kind of glance over it quickly. And he was in his corner. He kind of got in the ring and said, "Look, you did your best, etc., etc." He was trying to console him after the match. After Danny had lost, and he was really defeated and deflated. You can see it, and then MJF kicks him between the uprights and starts beating the living hell out of him, bloodies him, absolutely bludgeons Danny Garcia. And then he was kind of written off TV. Speculation being that his contract with AEW is running up next month in October. And you completely derailed me on that.
Sorry.
His contract was due to be expiring. and that they were writing him off TV just in case he did decide to leave and go to the Fed being the WWE Federation. But it seems that that's not the case, because obviously, as we covered in our All In reactions, Daniel Garcia returned at All In, kind of didn't touch MJF, but he did stop him from cheating against Will Ospreay at All In, allowing Ospreay to hit the Tiger Driver and win that championship back. And so I guess in a roundabout way, Danny Garcia screwed Maxwell out of the title, even though he didn't really do much. I personally, I'd see it as MJF screwed MJF.
Yeah.
You know, harkening back to the old Brett screwed Brett kind of thing. Obviously, Danny comes out on Dynamite last night. As we're recording this, it's Thursday, so Dynamite aired last night. There were some rather scathing remarks back and forth, which I will not repeat here, because some of them may not be seen as PG friendly, I guess.
Yep. Mothers were brought into it.
Yeah, mothers were very much brought into it. So was Maxwell's hairline.
Yeah.
It was a good segment.
It was really good.
If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth seeing it, and it's good to see Danny Garcia getting away from this whole dancing thing and actually doing some stuff on the mic for a change.
He's been so good on the mic the couple of times we've heard him since he's been back.
And
I don't know if he had some coaching or anything while he was gone.
And it wouldn't surprise me if it was MJF helping him with it, you know, because MJF, he's obviously a tool on screen. He portrays that character outside the ring as well, for the most part, trying to keep up kayfabe.
Yeah.
But apparently he's a very nice guy, you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is helping Danny as well, which is great. And obviously there's Danny's he sort of his mother was brought into question. He jumped up through the ring. He went to try and go to get to Max. The body security and that were trying to stop him. He's fighting on security. Turns around and Max hits him with the wine bottle, just cuts him open, etc. And obviously Max leaves him for a second time, laying in a pool of his own blood.
Yep.
There's no stakes on this one. It's just Danny Garcia out for revenge, and MJF's just like, yeah, I'm just going to beat you up. You know, and it's kind of basic MJF bullying, which is, you know, it's great. That's what MJF does, and that's fantastic. It's good to see Danny back. I really like Danny Garcia, and I really hope he's going to stop this dancing thing, because I think he needs to get a bit more aggressive, a bit more vicious. And I think that would really just sort of springboard him up and really catapult him into that next level, into the potentially getting a maybe TNT title shot, maybe another international championship shot against Will Ospreay, you know, because that match was great. I wouldn't say necessarily he would beat Ospreay for it, but it would still elevate him, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. Any thoughts from you?
I think the dancing probably is going to be off the table, just from like the attitude he's coming out with now, and I want to see more of that, just that emotion, because he was good before with showing emotion, but I feel like it's gone up a notch a bit at the moment. Yeah. So very excited to see
raw. It's a lot more raw emotion.
How it goes. Yeah. We know MJF is going to cheat whatever happens, so we'll see. It'll be fun.
Cool. Who you got?
MJF.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they can do a lot more with the storyline.
Yes, yeah.
But if Garcia wins outright, it's going to fall flat.
So I think we covered this in the All In reaction, so I'll just give a quick glance over it. MJF on the day before All In did tweet out that somebody had stolen his Dynamite Diamond ring, blamed it on Britain. They're all a bunch of thugs and thieves and whatnot.
You know it.
And then Danny Garcia kind of chimes in after All In, and he's like, yeah, I stole it. I pawned it. Yeah, in Brooklyn, I think he said it was Brooklyn or something. I can't remember where he said it was, but he said, yeah, I took it to a pawn shop and pawned it. So obviously, and from what I've heard, the ring is legit missing. Nobody knows where it is. It's probably just been lost on the back of something. I'd imagine it would have turned up online by now if someone had stolen it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're kind of feeding that into this, which is kind of cool.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, this should be good. Speaking of good, our next match is the last of our non-title matches, and it's probably the most loaded match on the card in my mind.
Ooh.
In a steel cage match, we will see Hangman Adam Page take on Swerve Strickland. Hey, Leanne, whose cage?
Swerve's cage.
So this is match number 4 for these guys.
Yes.
The first match was at Wrestle Dream last year. Swerve won that one. The next match was at Full Gear. Swerve won that one. The third match was at Dynamite earlier this year. I don't think it was February, beginning of Feb, maybe late January. And that went to a time limit draw. So currently Swerve holds 2/0 of a Hangman Page.
Yeah.
And obviously a time limit draw. Now, I feel that obviously that this has been very raw. Swerve obviously went into Hangman's home with his little child there, going back to the feud when they were sort of building up to Wrestle Dream or Full Gear. I forget which event it was that they did that, and that got quite dark. And then yesterday on Dynamite, obviously spoilers for Dynamite if you haven't seen Dynamite, obviously. Swerve, before Dynamite, rather, on their social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, etc., they put a video up of Swerve, and he's standing outside this house, and he's talking about his childhood and his family home and whatnot, and how him signing his contract extension with AEW, literally the day of All In, just before All In, has allowed him to purchase his old family home, which was foreclosed on. There was obviously people go through rough times in their lives and things happen, and he was able to buy that house back for his family. And it was a really touching video. Yeah. It was fantastic. It was really nice to see. And they obviously showed a cut down version of that on Dynamite last night. So then we had come to the end, sort of after the last match, the main event, and then we get sort of Swerve come to the ring for a contract signing. Swerve sat in the ring and he's just sort of waiting there for Hangman, and Tony's like, here's Hangman Adam Page. They start playing his music. No sign of Hangman. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe there's a bit of a miscommunication on the back. Here's Hangman Adam Page. They start playing his music again. Again, Hangman Page doesn't turn up. And it's like, well, we don't know what's going on. Then all of a sudden, Hangman appears on the screen, on his cell phone, mobile phone, whatever you want to call it, and he's recording, and he's going. He's like, whose house? And he walks into the house that Swerve was outside of earlier that day, and you can't really tell what he's doing at this point. I mean, I kind of saw an image, and I'm like, I know that sound. I know what he's doing. Oh God, this is going to be insane. Okay. And I don't know what point you clocked it. It was
because you could hear, there was one point you could sort of hear liquid.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? Is he like peeing or something in like Swerve's house? Because that would be mean. And then as he's sort of going back outside the house, you see a red container that he's holding.
So there was a brief glimpse of it when he was still in the house. I wasn't sure if you caught that or not. That? And I was like, it's a jerry can. It's a jerry can. Yeah. That's gasoline. Oh, God, here we go. He's pouring gasoline all around the house while sort of telling Swerve that he's... I honestly, I was more focused on what he was doing than what he was saying, because it was just like, oh, my God. That's right. He was saying about his childhood and how he can sort of picture his mother running around the house and how low the ceilings are. And his dad was like sitting in front of the TV telling him to go and shut up because he's watching TV, and saying his dad probably wished he was never born, all this kind of luck. Then he goes outside, pours some more gasoline, pours a line to this chair, puts the camera down, sits down, lights a very long match. Our friend Maddie will be impressed with the match, because it was the same kind of match as we had with them on the beach on Sunday for our little beach fire thing.
Do you want a long match?
Do you want a long match? Let's have a long match. I'm expecting this to be a long match.
This will be a long.
And then he sets the whole damn house on fire.
It's an impressive fire. I wonder if they had some like pyro set up just to make sure it
went I reckon that was just gasoline. You wouldn't know. I think it would have been too staged.
Yeah, it was a house on fire.
That was insane. And the visual of Hangman just sat there and in front of it, not even flinching as it's going up on flames, like, my God.
Yeah, and Swerve's going absolutely mental.
Oh, he's going ballistic. Obviously. Yeah, he's going nuclear in the ring.
Prince Nana is just like...
He's trying to calm Swerve down as best he can, but Swerve's literally flipped a switch at this point. So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Hey, Leanne.
Hi.
Who's Cinders?
Swerve Cinders. But wasn't it done so well, though? Because when they did that emotional post, and the trick of putting it on social media before showing it on the show, there was not a moment in my mind where I was like, oh, this might be a work.
No.
It just felt real, just so genuine. And I don't know whether maybe he did buy his childhood home, but that wasn't it. Or
I'm wondering,
if it's just completely storyline.
Obviously, the house was completely empty. The chances of it still being empty since the foreclosure, I don't know what the likelihood of that would have been. Is it possible the house was run down?
And it was going to be demolished anyway.
Well, no, this is what I'm getting at, is that Swerve might have told Tony Khan what he was planning on doing. And Tony Khan went, let's use it. Tell you what I'll do. And I wouldn't put it past Tony Khan, because Tony Khan is one of the sweetest people in the world. He probably said to Swerve, look, let us use the house. We will burn it to the ground, and I will help you pay to rebuild it.
Maybe.
From the ground up.
Maybe.
Wouldn't surprise me. But that was a hell of a thing. Meanwhile, On WWE TV, CM Punk's going nuclear over a friggin' 10 pence bracelet. Seriously, get a grip. Yeah. And then, I guess, slight tangent, WWE marks, oh my god, AEW is so crap. CM Punk, their boys, feuding over a bracelet. Swerve just had his house burned down.
Exactly.
There's no competition. There really isn't. And again, both of these guys, and this is the Hangman we've needed for a long time.
Yeah.
This ruthless killer Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
It's really
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of stunned by that, not gonna lie. Even though I kind of saw that image, and then I was like watching it, it was kind of, even though I knew it was coming, it was like, oh my god, this is wild.
We've seen like cars burning. We've not seen an entire house burning down before.
That's actually not true.
No,
Randy Orton burned the Bray Wyatt compound.
Ah, okay, cool.
But it didn't look anywhere near as good as that. Any other thoughts on this one?
It's gonna be very good. Very good. Steel cage match.
So
you've got a lot of emotion, really high emotion, and they're just gonna murder each other.
So one thing I saw on social media after what had happened with the house, I think it was Tony Khan, did state that this match will be contested under lights out rules.
Okay.
So the wins and losses in this match do not count towards each individual's win-loss record.
Gotcha.
Okay, just a transparency when I give you full information. That being said, who you got?
I'm kind of thinking Hangman.
Going for Hangman?
Yeah.
Going for Hanger?
Yeah.
The Hangers? The Hangman page?
I feel like Swerve lost the title at All In. So it's kind of...
And Hangman helped him lose it, technically.
So it's kind of following the same trajectory a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just like kick him while he's down, take away everything, and then you can start building up again. So I think that it could be an interesting way to go with it.
Mm-hmm. Who have I got?
Swerve?
Hangman. I'm going Hangman too. I feel that it's time that Hangman got a win. And having Tony Khan come out and say it's lights out, this doesn't count towards your win-loss record, actually fuels this more for Hangman to win for me.
Yeah.
Because then Swerve will be like, doesn't count, wasn't a sanctioned match.
True.
And then Hangman will still have a rage on to fight him and beat him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, okay, and I just kind of feel that kind of furthers it a bit more. And this is definitely not the last match for these guys. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
How long do we get Hangman Swerve tag team?
Might be a few years.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the last of our non-title matches.
Yay.
Now on to our title matches. First off, for the TBS Championship, we have Mercedes Moné facing Hikaru Shida. Obviously, Mercedes Moné retained over Britt Baker at All In. Ooh.
Yep.
Hikaru Shida defeated Queen Amanata, Serena Deeb, and Thunder Rosa. I believe it was on Collision last week in a four-way match to gain the number one contendership for the TBS Championship at All In. Mercedes Moné is in the ring and she's sort of mouthing off, and Hikaru she turns out on the screen. They kind of have a bit of a back and forth, and then good old Christopher Daniels turns up, and he's like, you know what, Camille, you're impressive, you're a specimen in the ring, but whenever you're at ringside, you're nothing more than a distraction. Therefore, on Saturday at All Out, Camille is banned from ringside, which sends Mercedes Moné off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
It sends Camille off the rails, and Hikaru's just there going, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
That's all I've got, because that's pretty much all the build-up there's been.
Cool. I really like the direction they're going with Shida at the moment, with her promos and everything, and the look she's got.
The one thing that does bug me a little bit is calling her the Ace.
Yeah,
because that's Hiroshi Tanahashi's thing.
It's already someone's name.
Yeah.
I wonder if she got permission from him, kind of thing,
maybe
to use it.
Maybe.
Don't know the background. But I like the direction they're going with her. It's sort of different, and she seems to have more edge to her at the moment. Yeah, which is pretty cool. I still feel she needs to change up her finishing move, because that finishing move just doesn't look great. That spinning sort of shin kick, it just she slows it down too much. If she can time it right and she follows through with an aggressive looking style on it, it would look so much better. Cool. But as it stands for me, it just looks weak. I feel she either needs to change the move to a different finisher, or somehow make it look much better. And I don't know. Fair. Is that all you got? I mean, even with a weak finishing move, they're still better than Mercedes Mone.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not disputing that. Not disputing that at all.
Just wanted to put that in
not
there.
disputing that at all. Yeah,
Yep.
Shida is absolutely miles and miles and miles better than Mercedes Mone
Yep.
or Mone,
Mone.
as I mentioned when we
Mercedes
were watching
Mone.
Dynamite. Yeah, so all she does is bloody Mone.
Mercedes.
Okay, if there's nothing else, who you got?
I don't like it, but Mone.
You do have your desired result.
I might do that for this one. I kind of want to wait and see what the other ones,
Yeah.
what my other thoughts are. This might end up being my desired result to go for Shida.
So I'm not actually doing a desired result on this one. So if you do get that right, then you could potentially get a nice little gap closer, as it were.
Maybe.
I'm also going Mercedes Mone.
Yeah. She's only just got the second title, so
Yeah, but it's been about 2 months now, maybe.
yeah.
I think was it Double or Nothing?
I don't think they've
May, June,
cooled
July,
on
August.
it enough
3.
yet to get rid of it. I suppose.
They spent all this money on her.
Mone.
They've got to keep her in that position, otherwise it's going to be money down the drain, right?
Mone. The one thing
Dear God.
that would
Send
improve
help.
it,
Please send help.
that would improve Mercedes being there, is if she brings the corgis back.
That's pushing it. On to our next match. On to our next match. Just quickly getting off Mone. A match made last night on Dynamite after a scuffle. We've got the Young Bucks defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Blackpool Combat Club's Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli.
Yes.
So, I need to make a quick note here. So, literally the only sort of build that we've had is there was a match between Wheeler, Pac, and Claudio, who are the Trio Tag Team Championships champions. And they were facing off against Will Ospreay, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly. Is it Kyle Fletcher then? Too many Kyles in this match.
Too many Kyles.
All the Pages, all the Kyles. Like, come on, seriously. And Blackpool Combat Club sort of win the match. And after the match, the Pac and Ospreay at this point have gone brawling in the back. After the match, the Elite jump the ring. They start beating up the BCC, including Bryan Danielson, who's joined them in the ring. And then they kind of get the tables turned on them. They get sort of run off. And then Claudio's like, how about, I've got nothing to do it all out. How about me and Yuta face the Bucks for the tag champs at All Out? What do you think? And they were like, yeah, all right, fair enough. So that's pretty much how that's come about. And that's pretty much all I've got.
Yep. It's going to be a good match.
It will be a great match. Yeah, it will be an absolute great match. All four of these guys are great. Wheeler Yuta, since joining the BCC, has been phenomenal.
Yes.
Not that he wasn't before, but I feel that he was kind of probably floundering a little bit.
Yeah, he's come such a long way.
So this is really kind of giving him a bit of a shot in the arm, especially having Mox and Danielson and Claudio and even sort of William Regal back in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of taking him under their wing and sort of teaching him ways and whatnot. And it's just been great.
Yes.
I see great things for Wheeler Yuta in the future. Have you got anything else on this one?
Not really. It's very much sort of, I guess, out of the blue.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a great match. So
we are going to have a little preview of this and the next match, which we're going to cover on Collision, with the Elite facing off against the BCC and Pac, including Bryan Danielson. So it's going to be an 8-man tag match, which every member of the match has championship gold.
That's pretty cool.
If you've got nothing else with this one, who have you got winning?
Bucks. I think for the Bucks to lose the tag titles, they need some build-up. And this hasn't, just by the nature of it, hasn't had any. So it wouldn't be now.
Who am I going for?
Bucks. The Elite.
Damn straight. Yeah, as you say, I feel that it needs to be a feud. If Lucha Bros end up re-signing with AEW, they could possibly do it. But again, it would need to be a nice build-up.
I mean, it could end up being these guys, but
I mean, we didn't see them winning the trios titles at All In. That was wild.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I can't see them doing it. It's going to be the Bucks.
Imagine though, BCC having the trios and the tag titles.
I mean, much like I've said with that, I think if you're going to strip one of the Elite of the belts, it would have to be all of them to kind of show that crumbling of the Elite.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're ready for that yet. I still think there's a lot more.
It's got the end of the Elite has to be when they start losing them, right? It's got to go with it.
I did see an image online recently. I don't know if it was a real image or not. It showed Kota Ibushi lacing up some boots. Looks like he's going to make his return after his injury and his surgery pretty soon.
Awesome.
So that could be good.
Yeah.
And then we could get the Golden Elite.
Sweet.
Let's go. Yeah, so looking forward to that. And obviously prefaced already with the next match we're going to cover is going to be for the AEW World Championship. Bryan Danielson defending against the TNT champion, Jack Perry.
Mm-hmm.
I did say, I think it was during reactions or predictions for All In, that I feel that a champion versus champion is lost. And I still believe that. I still feel that you shouldn't really have champion versus champion unless it's all on the line.
Yeah,
Perry is not putting his TNT title on the line. But I feel this kind of feeds a bit more into the Elite storyline with this one particularly, because it's Bryan Danielson sort of in the ring last week on Dynamite celebrating his victory, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to throw out an open invitation. Mm-hmm. Whoever wants to sort of take this gold or try and take this gold from me, come at it, let's go. And then Jack Perry turns up on the screen. He's sat in this really big comfy armchair, and he's sort of talking and saying that, he wants to be the one to end his career and whatnot. And he said, the worst thing about your career is the best is behind you. Something to that effect. Yeah. And then Jack Perry's behind him and he attacks him. So it was pre-recorded, and I was like, that's genius. Yeah. That's friggin' genius.
The other part of that is during that where Danielson was offering the open challenge is where he said that the end of his career will be when he loses the title.
Yeah.
So he's going to keep fighting. He's not just going to abandon the title, but the moment he loses it,
his career's done. Yeah. Which is cool, and obviously for Perry to be the first one to step up, people still sort of go, oh, CM Punk.
Yeah.
But they seem to be getting quieter. Have you noticed that since he's won the title, since he's done the scapegoat gimmick and this black and silver sort of, or the red splashed?
It's about time that stuff blew over now.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's been over a year now.
Yeah,
just let it ride again. And as I've said this before, I'll say it again, his time in New Japan, under the House of Torch's wing, has done Jack Perry a world of wonders.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And obviously, as we previously mentioned, the Elite jumped the ring when Bryan Danielson was there. Obviously, Jack Perry was there as well, and they sort of beat up a little bit on Bryan Danielson. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of saw the Elite run them off. And in some parting words, Bryan Danielson did say, at All Out, I'm going to kick your effing head in.
Yeah.
And Jack Perry's like...
Do you think it's one of the things that Bryan Danielson said to Tony Khan, like, right, my career's coming to an end. I want to drop as many F-bombs as I can before I'm done.
Yeah.
I never got to in the other company.
He dropped 2 in Cardiff.
Yeah.
He inadvertently dropped 2 last night, the one on the mic and the one without the mic, which he heard because this camera was so close. Yeah, I think it is.
I think so.
But the thing is, this isn't a PG product.
Nope.
It's a TV-14 product.
Even though the books say, it's a family show.
Yeah. But that's great. And that kind of leads into it because they're kind of leaning into that sports entertainment thing, which is, I think, why some of the fans are like, screw the Young Bucks, And I kind of love it. I think it's fun because they're kind of almost mocking WWE with this.
A little bit.
With the sort of the narcissism and their egotism and that. And it kind of,
Yeah.
I really like it. I mean, if you've got nothing else, who have you got?
Danielson to win and retain. There is no way they'd have all that speech and then have him lose it on the first title match.
Yeah.
No way. If they do, it'll be because he needs the surgery like now and he needs to go.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make sense in my head that would be a choice they'd make unless they absolutely have to.
Yep, I agree. Bryan Danielson's retaining. As much as I would absolutely love to see Jack Perry win this.
Perry.
And here we go, right? If Jack Perry wins, we stop covering WWE.
Sounds good. Let's do that.
How does that sound?
I love an ultimatum.
It's great because he's ultimatum for the other company because clearly CM Junk, right?
Yeah.
Screw Pepsi Phil and his little, I'm fighting because of a bracelet. And there's poor Swerve getting his house set on fire, Just absolutely trash. I feel this is going to be a really good match. This is going to be a really good showing for Jack Perry. He's really, as I say, he's come into his own with this scapegoat gimmick. I think he's fantastic. His in-ring abilities come out. And I did find out that the match at All In with Darby Allin, the coffin match, was cut about 10 minutes short because some other stuff ran over. And
we mentioned it felt short.
There was the hard curfew at Wembley, which needed to be adhered to, unfortunately, a 10 p.m. curfew. So unfortunately, they did run it short. They cut some time off that, which I'm gutted over.
It's a lot of time to cut.
But he's really sort of ramping it up and sort of coming into his own. I think it's fantastic. And I think this will be an eye-opener. Bryan Danielson is a great wrestler. There's no ifs or buts or ands or buts about it. Bryan Danielson's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay. Jack Perry will get, no matter if he loses, he will get the rub off of Bryan Danielson for this.
100%.
And the Bryan Danielson will make Jack Perry shine, and Jack Perry will shine on his own as well.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. This is going to be an absolute banger. But... do you know what else is going to be a banger, Leanne? It's the main event for the predictions.
I completely steamrolled that.
I know, right? You completely botched it. So the final match we're going to talk about is going to be Will Ospreay defending his international championship against Pac.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Mm-hmm.
So Pac won a 4-way match. I believe it was July 10th on Dynamite against Claudio Castagnoli, Tomohiro Ishii, and Kyle Fletcher. So he obviously got the right to fight the international champion at All Out.
Yep.
And this kind of been simmering since that point. Obviously, he's been saying whoever I get, because he obviously was due to MJF and Ospreay at that point. And Pac did get the thing going, whoever wins, I don't care, because you've got me next.
Yep.
Do not overlook me. And that was kind of a bit of a foreshadowing, because last week on Dynamite, when Ricochet made his debut against Kyle Fletcher, Ricochet wins the match. Out comes Will Ospreay, and he's got a mic in his hand, and it looks like he's sort of inviting Ricochet for a match.
Yes, he lays the belt down.
Lays the belt down as if it was like a step over this line kind of thing. And then all of a sudden from behind, Pac hits a Poison Rana on the stage on Will Ospreay, and it's like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And he's literally, do not look past me. Forget me at your own peril kind of thing going on. And it's like, oh my God, this is wild.
I mean, fair.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Pac is dangerous.
Got next.
Yeah, Pac is dangerous. Yeah, he's got next. His 20 pence is on the table, right?
You can't assume that you're going to still have the championship for Ricochet to challenge if you've got Pac in the way.
Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact this is two British guys.
Yeah.
I love that fact.
Love it.
British wrestling, right?
British wrestling.
And then obviously doing that 6-man tag, which you've covered in the last 2 matches. Bryan, Will Ospreay and Pac were obviously a part of that as well.
So like all 3 of these, the last 3 matches we're talking about, all could be affected by the match.
They're all kind of meshed in,
yeah. Is it Collision, was it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's wild, I love it, it's great. But they kind of brawl to the back, and Pac hits a brainbuster on Ospreay on some trunk case things. Equipment cases, I don't know what the technical term for them is, and it looked and sounded brutal, and Pac's like literally again screaming, was it something along the lines of overlook me at your own peril, something to that effect. And then CD's like, get out of here, Christopher Daniels, and Pac's just there and he's seething, and it's like, oh my God, this man is so intense. I kind of like want to meet him, but like I kind of feel like he'll give me the hard stare, and I'll be like, oh my God.
Yes.
What a phenomenal match this is going to be. And we all know the AEW World Title match will be the last match on the card, but if I had to pick one to go at the very end of this card, it would be this one. Yeah. Which is why it's on my top of this.
Looking forward to.
Well, most looking forward to the title matches, yeah.
Yes.
Have you got anything else for this one?
No, not really.
It is good to see the international title back over that American title thing that MJF was
funny.
Parading around. It was funny. But... It was semi-ugly. I mean, it's not the worst belt I've seen, you know. The Daniel Bryan, wooden and hemp. Remember that? The wooden and hemp WWE Championship?
So
that was awful. Oh, God, that was disgusting. And the scissor trio belts, they were awful as well.
Yeah, they're fun, though. That's
comedy. So if you got anything else, who you got?
Ospreay.
Similar
to the last one.
I agree.
It's too soon for him to lose it, although it could lead into further things with Pac. So
I get the feeling, I'm going for Ospreay again, just in case I didn't pick up on the mic just now. I get the feeling that if anyone's going to beat him for it, it's going to be Ricochet.
Could be. That would be.
It's clear they're building to Ospreay and Ricochet. Yes. I still need to find that Indies match that they had, because apparently it was an absolute barn burner.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. So I get the feeling that might be the way they're heading. There may be some other sort of hurdles before we get there. Yeah. If I were AEW, I wouldn't be doing it soon. I'd be teasing it, and then doing it at like maybe Full Gear in November. Kind of drop the breadcrumbs and then jump into it. You know, even have them tag up for a little bit. Excuse me, against Pac, or have Kyle Fletcher join in, because obviously Kyle and Will Ospreay are really good friends. Really close friends. Have them 3 maybe feud with BCC because Pac's still out to get Ospreay or something. Yeah. You could do that at Wrestle Dream, and then something goes wrong. Ospreay or Ricochet hits the other person, and then that kind of leads into, well, why'd you do that? And it kind of sparks off this disagreement, and then it's either at Full Gear or World's End at the end of the year.
Awesome.
Which I think would be really cool, and I really want to see this match again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be great.
Cool, so that's fun, because we only deviated on one match.
Amazing.
Yeah, cool. Which match are you least looking forward to?
The one with Mercedes Moné in it.
Unfortunately, yeah, much like we said for our all-in predictions, and I'm agreeing with that, it's not to do with Britt Baker, it's not to do with Hikaru Shida, it's all to do with the Mone.
Yeah, unless she
Or
brings
the
the
Mone.
corgis.
Yeah, it's all to do with the Mone. Yeah. And yet people are going, oh, Britt Baker was off step. Britt Baker was the one screwing the match up for Mercedes Moné. Like, are you blind? Really? Sasha Banks wasn't great. Mercedes Moné is not great. Simple as that. Which match are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, there's so many. I think it's going to be Hangman Swerve, though, Steel Cage match.
100% agree with that. As much as I'm excited for Ospreay and Pac,
Yeah.
that the whole storyline, it's been nearly a year now, this Hangman and Swerve feud. And
Right.
it's just, it's simmering, and it's hitting boiling point. The burning of the house was just that, boom, that catalyst.
So
to just,
unexpected.
oh my God, it was insane. It was so good. So yeah, that is going to be off the charts insane. And I'm
The
really
other
looking
match
forward to
is
this.
like in contention for my top spot of the title matches, but there's titles on the line, but this match there's so much emotion, raw emotion.
There's real
So
life stakes almost. It's not just a title. Like Swerve has lost a child at home.
Yeah, there's like real life stakes. Like
it's and obviously, I mean, one thing we didn't touch on was Swerve was saying that he was sat in the car watching Hangman bring his newborn back home. So when Hangman took that time off earlier this year, it was because his wife was due to give birth.
Yeah,
that's why he took it off. Nobody knew that until he came back, obviously, and they kind of even pulling that into it. And it's like, oh my God.
So it's not so just
good.
Hangman.
It's so good.
Being nasty.
But yeah, AEW don't run storylines like WWE, Leanne.
What's this? You're burning a house for no storyline? What?
Take us away.
Thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you so much. Please like this video if you liked it. Hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we drop new videos. Follow us on our socials. Our link is in the description below, which will take you to Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can join in the conversation in the comments or on our socials. Let us know what you're looking forward to most on this card. I can't think of any additional questions, so that'll do.
Do you think Hangman burning Swerve's house down was too far?
Or is it too far? It's not. It's the house he was.
What had more impact? Swerve's house being burned down, or CM Punk's bracelet getting stolen?
I think I know the answer to that. But let us know in the comments. We want to see it in writing. I think that's everything. Thank you again. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you on our reactions on Sunday. We'll drop those. And until then...
Don't go burning down any houses. Be less Hangman.
Be less Hangman. Bye.
Bullet Club.